Today's video, we're talking about this topic of what to say when you are building a clinical holistic business. So many of you are midway point, like you've been building for a while. Hey there, Sean. Some of you are brand new, and everybody's at different levels of having a clinical holistic business. So if you haven't met me before, my name is Renee Hughes, and I'm a messaging and speaking expert, and I help people in clinical holistic business to solidify their messaging, to know what to say about their business and how to say it. Hey there, Danny. So that's what I specialize in. I help people to know what to say and how to say it to advance their clinical holistic business. And so what do we mean when we say clinical holistic? You might be wondering, am I under that category? So primarily our clients are people who are in aromatherapy. They're licensed counselors, they're licensed therapists. They are holistic specialists. Some have in-person spa-like places of business. Some have schools, aromatherapy schools, and other schools. There's a variety. There's a variety of people underneath that clinical holistic. What it is it's not the spiritual side. So it's the clinical, where it's more the emotional support, pain management, clinical side of the holistic remedy. So that's us. That's what we do. That's what we help to support. And so in today's episode, in today's message for you, we're talking about how to speak your way to success. So the question comes up in my messaging and my communication. How do I express what I'm doing clinically in a way that will help people to want to work with me? Because we're in the clinical space, it's kind of, there's a lot of competition, and it's not always our gift to know how to express it. So I've got 9 things that I'm going to go over with you today that's going to help you in your communicating your value as a clinical holistic specialist. And it's going to help you to connect to more people so that your practice will grow. And those of you who have schools, you'll also get more enrollments as well. So we're going to talk about these things. And number 1 on the list is effectively communicating transformation. So that is probably one of the most important things in this kind of thing that we do on the clinical side. People want to know, what is the transformation going to look like? So we know to use the word transformation. We know to get testimonials. We know to talk about the results, but sometimes it's how we talk about it. And so what people really want to know versus, I'll help you lose this amount of weight. I'll help you reduce your anxiety. I'll help you reduce your depression. I'll help you reduce your pain level. What they want to know is what that's going to look like for them. For so many people, especially dealing with chronic issues, they don't remember what life looks like without it. And so when you're communicating the transformation, make sure that you include what that result will look like in daily life. So kind of practice that. That's something that you can practice. And you can also ask your clients, what's different? And then also documenting the person's transformation. Not that you're going to share their personal information, but you're going to take a note. And one of my clients, we just had this conversation recently. She's got an amazing program that's helping people with trauma type related things. And she's noticed some things along the transformation that she had not even anticipated. So take note of your clients and your patients. What did they come in for? But along the way, what kind of surprises did you have in their transformation? And how did they communicate that to you? How did you know that they had these big changes? Those are the kind of language that you're going to use to help you to communicate that transformation. So that's number 1, communicate the transformation in very specific terms. And so when you're doing things like social media, or you're doing a class or whatever, you're going to always incorporate what this is going to look like. Why do I care about this information you're talking about? And what is it going to look like for me as I transform? Okay. Number 2, success means aligning with your mission. So we use the term success in a lot of different ways. Success doesn't always mean the dollar signs that you're bringing in. Success also means how you feel about your practice, how many lives you're impacting, what you're accomplishing. All of these things are part of success. And in order for you to feel that holistically, all around, you need to be in alignment with what you're doing. So sometimes assess your offer and make sure that what you're offering and what you're spending your time on and what you're presenting out there, it really is in alignment with who you are and what you want to be doing. A lot of the tweaks that we've made over the years have to do with getting more and more and more in alignment with what it is that we offer. Okay, our school is called Holistic Champions, but in the last year or so, we really emphasized the clinical side because we realized to be in alignment with what my gift as someone who can do messaging and copy and can help people to speak very fluently and passionately about what they do, I have to be in alignment with what they're doing. And so that clinical side really took shape. And so I want you to be thinking about that. My current offer, what I'm doing, is it something that I really can get people results on? And is it something that I want to be getting people results on? Am I working with the people? Are my patients, my students, my clients, are they people that are getting results, that I enjoy helping them through the process, and that we're working well together? So sometimes just reassess that and make sure that you're in alignment, because the more you are in alignment, doesn't mean that every single day of work is going to be fun, but you'll have more fun and more good times and more success and progress if you are all cylinders firing and you're like, this is the space I want to be in and I can do this, and you're seeing the results. So success means aligning with your business. That's number 2. Number 3 is to start storytelling. So that's not easy sometimes if that's just not a natural thing. And I always encourage you all when you're speaking, because many of you are speaking already, you're speaking on social media, you're running classes, to really watch yourself back on those recordings to see how you are. There is even tools out there now that will rate you, some AI tools I can tell you about later, some AI tools that will rate your engagement, what effect you're having, your charisma, all of these things. It will help you to see how well am I really connecting to my audience. And sometimes just listening back with an open ear and really hearing if I was the student, the patient, the person, the interested person, how interested would I be to continue on in watching this? So listening back really helps. And storytelling is so helpful because storytelling helps people to see themselves in that result. So you remember earlier we were talking about you have to communicate the result you're getting for your client. Storytelling helps them to see it. So sometimes as clinical practitioners, we think a lot about the clinical side and we use the clinical language, whereas our clients more so want to understand in practical terms what the difference is going to mean for them. And by telling a story about this person came in with this particular thing, this is what they ended up with, this is what happened to me, this is the data that we're seeing. So you can talk about data, but you want to talk about your data in a way that you're telling a story. Okay, so I have some examples of that. And if you DM me and you want to talk further about that, I'll show you our video. We have some clips of examples that are really show you from light to day, from 1 to 10, the difference between the clinical talk and telling stories. So start practicing that. Tell your story. So many of us feel like, I don't really have a story. I don't have one of those, stories that capture people. Hey there. Thanks so much for joining, Laela. So sometimes we feel like that, like my personal story is not going to captivate audiences, but you will be surprised. I have yet to speak to or work with any of my clients who don't have an incredible story. It's just that sometimes we have to pull it out because we don't think of our life's journey as having been any kind of incredible story, but there's one there. And your real true story, what you've been through and how you got to this point, is going to make a really big difference. And wow, I just lost my notes. My screen just went blank there. It's going to make a difference in people connecting to you. So if you're thinking that you don't have a story, DM me. I love to help you to figure out how to pull your story out. Give you a couple of things, and that's free of charge. Give you a couple of things to think about to start pulling your story out. And the other thing that you can do, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this at the end, but please join our messaging exchange. The messaging exchange is going to help you with your storytelling. It's going to help you with all of your messaging, anything that you're communicating to your audience. So go take a look at our profile, look at the messaging exchange. It is the perfect way to get started in telling your story and getting acclimated with that. We made it where it was just about free. In fact, it is free for the first 30 days. But I want you to get in there and learn how to get feedback on your messaging and also to tell your stories with one another and connect and collaborate. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Let me finish my list first. Number 4 is forming partnerships, which of course is another part of what we're doing in Messaging Exchange. All right, so speaking your way to success also has to do with making sure that you have partners. This does not mean that you can't be a solopreneur. This doesn't mean like you have to go and create a corporate partnership. What I mean by partners is having a community of people that support what you do. They get what you do. They understand it. They will refer for you, not because out of obligation or out of some hierarchy or tier that you're on, but because they love what you do. They get what you do. It's not the same thing that they do. And you can collaborate with one another. They can refer you, you can refer them, or you can get together and do videos together. We just had 2 of our clients get together and do a beautiful video together and find projects that will lift each other up. Speaking your way to success has to do with when you're very clear about what you do, how you do it, and what the result is, you attract partners. You attract people who say, I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing and I actually would love to be a part of it. How can I be a part of it? How can I share your message? It's so important what you're doing. And then they're likely to feel that way about what you're doing. So we don't have to do all the things. We can also link arms with people who are already doing different parts of health and wellness that we're not doing. And we can still be a part of supporting people in various ways while still staying in our specialty, in our lane. Does that make sense? So speaking your way to success is a lot about forming those partnerships and knowing where to find them. The next one is closely linked to that, and it's networking. So, hey there, thanks so much for joining live. This is Supri, I don't know how to say your business name, Supri Path. Thanks for being here. So the next part is that growing a thriving network. So speaking your way to success is about the partnerships, but it's also about having a community around you. So it's not just those other clinical professionals who you'll be linking arms with, but it's also the community who also loves what you're doing. And the only way that people can fall in love with what you're doing is when they really are clear on what you're doing, how you're doing it, and why you're doing it, and what the benefit is. So speaking your way to success means clearly communicating that to your community, whether it's in person or online, and growing a number of people who just love you. They appreciate you. They get you. And it doesn't have to be a big, huge community. We're famous for having our small community that's done major things for us and for our clients. Very small community, very mighty things that we've done over here. So don't worry about the numbers. Worry about not worry, but concern yourself with and work towards having a community of people who understand what you do. They get it and they want to link arms. Okay. So that's the thriving network. And again, you're also going to find that in the messaging exchange. So encourage you very much to go to that profile, click on the messaging exchange, because you're going to find both partnerships and a network in that group as we're growing that. The next thing is amplifying the impact of your social media. So here's the thing. Again, very small audience over here. We've got about 4,000 on LinkedIn, which is probably our biggest. We have 7,000 on Facebook, but Facebook, people may or may not see your stuff. And then here on Instagram, I think it's only like 1,000. So we don't have big, huge numbers, not really when you think about how many people actually see the thing. And so you may be feeling that way too. You don't need big numbers, you need impact. So even if you have 100 people, and I think all of you have more than 100 people following, what you want to do is make sure that your message on your social media carries an impact with what you leave. So not only educational things, but letting people get to know you, letting them to see how you really are, your lifestyle. You don't always, I just had this conversation with the client earlier today too, where we were talking about, you can get online sometimes and just show what you do. Some of you are herbalists. Show what you're doing with your herbs. Our resident permaculture specialist, Denise, she's got a lot of videos coming your way, where she's going to be explaining permaculture, what it looks like, and how you can use it to advance your business or be a home user. What you can do in your garden. She's talking about those things. And so you want to create impact by connecting with people, not just the educational posts. You can educate, but most importantly, you want to inspire and connect. So again, that's going to mean storytelling. There's going to be talking about why you're doing this, what's the impact. All of those things are going to help you with making a real impact on your media. And then number 7 is empowering others through a clear call to action. So this is a thing that makes people nervous sometimes when it comes to calls to action. What do I say? How do I have a call to action? So throughout this presentation, I've been giving you all a call to action, which is I want you to join me in the messaging exchange. So I'm not waiting until the very end to tell you about that. I'm telling it throughout. For one reason, when you're online, people are coming in and out. They're watching you in quick increments. And so no matter where they hear me, I want them to hear me talk about the messaging exchange, to go to our profile and take a look there. And so you want to get in the habit of giving very clear call to action. So as a clinical professional, sometimes we feel like, well, I don't want to push anything on anybody. This is it's their health, it's their wellness, it's their life. And we want to give them space to think about what they're doing and to really only work with us if they want to. And that's a beautiful thing. But when you don't give a clear call to action, people just don't know what to do. And I always tell the story of when my husband and I were in Costa Rica and we were eating at a restaurant and we were by ourselves. So we didn't know that it was part of the culture. They're not going to give you your bill until you ask for it. Well, we didn't know that. And so we're finished eating and we're sitting there and we're just like, okay, somebody will come over here eventually. And eventually we did end up, asking for it. But we felt a little frustrated because it was just like, we didn't know what to do. We didn't know what was next. And so we want to guide people. We want to give people some guidance and make it very clear of what they should do next. Because what if you're the next person that you can help to transform their mind, their heart, their body, the pain that they're in, the emotional pain? You can help them. We've got Liella here that helps people with end of life situations. What if Liella's next client or the family of that client needs her and they didn't know what to do? They didn't know what to do. So we've got to make sure, and we think, well, everybody knows to go to the profile, but sometimes people need guidance. They might think, well, I don't know which thing to click on in her profile. I don't know. Am I supposed to make an appointment? Should I DM her? I don't know what to do. So your call to action is a powerful way to speak your way to success. Because when you speak clearly and tell people exactly what it is that you want them to do next and how you're going to work with them, it's going to help them to stick with you and go ahead and do that thing you've asked them to do. And then let's see, I think we've got two more. Get your community motivated by talking about your solution. Okay. So another part of this clarity that you're talking about is being very clear on what your solution is. For example, our solution is helping people to know what to say about their business and how to say it. Very clear what to say, how to say it. Okay. So that's what we do. What do you do? What's the end result of working with you? What am I going to feel? What's my life going to look like? Our clients, it sparks creativity in them. They have the best offers they've ever had. They enjoy their business more than they ever have. They are attracting all kinds of attention, partnerships, media. People finally understand what they do and are interested in it. Okay, so that's what life looks like for them when they've worked with us. What about you? What is it that you're getting for your clients? And what's life going to look like as they experience that? Okay. So get in the habit of talking about that and making it clear. And as you do that, you're going to see other people sharing your information. When your topic comes up, they're going to be like, oh my goodness, I know somebody who actually works with that thing. So remember a few months back, I did a video called, Are You Referable? Being referable means your solution is so clear that when something comes up, a person is like, I know exactly who to send you to. Okay. So that's where we want to get to. And our last one is the way to speak your way to success is celebrating two things. Your journey, your journey is going to incorporate these two things actually. So you're celebrating your journey. It incorporates your wins and your losses. So don't be afraid to get on here when you're having a terrible day. That's something we don't do often enough. A lot of times if I'm not having a good day, I won't come on. But in reality, what helps is when we come on and we talk about our journey, our real journey, the good days, the challenging days, what's worked well, what hasn't worked well. One of the things I do talk a lot about is mistakes we've made. I just did one the other day that talked about some major mistakes I made when I started marketing with AI. And we talk a lot about lots of mistakes that I've made in building my business. It took a long time to get to that 6-figure mark, and it would have been a lot shorter had I known some other things to do, right? So we talk about our mistakes over here. Do that. It's scary when you're a clinical practitioner because you're like, I want people to know that I know what I'm doing. And that's fine. And you don't have to share everything. You share to your comfort level. But celebrate both your wins and your losses, your mistakes, your disappointments, all of that, because it helps people to get to know you. They realize we are just the same. I can work with this person. They're going to understand me. I'm not going to be way in left field. You know, a lot of our practices can be intimidating for people. People are intimidated with clinical holistic type practices because they don't always know what to expect. They don't know what's going on. They may feel like they're way too far gone to get any kind of support. They may not understand the support that we give. And so when we can come on and say and show that we're just real people, and sometimes we're disappointed and sad too. And sometimes something we thought was going to be really great wasn't. And then also celebrating when something was really great and not being afraid to talk about the details of that. It could be something very small. You know, one of our clients, Danny, I don't know if you're still on here, Danny, but Danny was in the park doing something and came across this lady and ended up helping her, you know, in a significant way with her aromatherapy. Danny has an aromatherapy course. And so it's just those powerful little things that could be happening just on a daily level that you could share, you know. So share those things, let people in, let people get to know you. And all of the ways that we shared today, we shared 9 things. All of these things are going to help you to speak your way to success. And then the final thing is what I've been talking about the whole way through, and that is the messaging exchange. So the messaging exchange is a way to get my expertise along with peer reviews at just about free cost. And in fact, your first month is free. We have been working for years on, and a lot of fails on this, on a community offer, something that would make sense for the community and make sense for us as professionals over here at the Aroma Specialist. And we nailed it with the messaging exchange. It is very new. We've just rolled it out. But in that exchange, you're going to find partners, collaborators, people who to refer you. And you're going to have next level messaging because you're going to have instruction from me where this is my specialty, this is my gift, the messaging, and also I do the speaking side. In the messaging exchange, we really focus on the messaging. So share the projects you're working on, give feedback on what it looks like and sounds like to other people, real people who would refer you, who would like to know what you've got going on. So this is what we're doing over in the messaging exchange. We focus on messaging, copy, content, and we share what projects we're working on and get real-time feedback from the community, from your peers of professionals. It's powerful, it's exciting, and I really want you to get over there and take a look. So go to our profile, look for the messaging exchange, and come experience it. It's free for the first 30 days, and it's just $27 after that. It is the lowest cost that we have ever done, and it's because we want to see a flow of people come through there that can really share what's actually going on in this clinical holistic space and help one another to level up and advance in all of our clinical practices. Okay, so that is it for today. Let me know in the comments if this was helpful. Let me know if you have questions. You can also DM me. Thank you so much for several of you being here live. Really appreciate it. It helps my energy and it makes me feel like I'm helping you. So thanks for being here, and I will see you on the next one.